Thank you, Mr. President. I begin my statement today on the occasion of this 10,000th session of the Security Council with an apology. An apology addressed to the Palestinian people, especially in Gaza. To all those whose eyes are fixed on this council today, know that we Algerians hear you. Palestinian sisters and brothers, forgive us. Forgive us especially in Gaza, where flames devour, where rubble lies everywhere. Forgive us, because this body has not been able to save your children. More than 18,000 of them have lost their lives under Israeli strikes. Forgive us, for this council has failed to protect your women. More than 12,000 were killed by Israel. Forgive us as well, because it has not defended your elders. More than 4,000 of them perished, victims of the same violence. Forgive us, for your doctors and nurses were not spared. Over 1,400 health workers were killed by Israel. Forgive us, for even your journalists found no protection. More than 250 were killed. Excuse us again, for your humanitarian workers were left undefended. Over 500 of them were killed by Israel. Forgive us finally, because hunger now spreads through Gaza, and this council has done nothing to stop it. It has not even been able to denounce it with strength. This council has likewise failed to halt your forced displacement. And while humanitarian aid is turned into a weapon, this very institution has not been able to break the siege of Gaza. Forgive us, for the world speaks of law, yet those very rights are denied to the Palestinians. Forgive us, because our efforts, though sincere, have crashed against the wall of rejection. Despite these genuine attempts, this Security Council has been of no help to you. Why? Because Israel is shielded, enjoying an immunity not derived from international law, but from a distorted global system. Israel kills every day and nothing happens. Israel starves an entire people and nothing changes. Israel bombs hospitals, schools, and shelters, and all remains silent. Israel targets a mediator, tramples diplomacy, and nothing responds. And with each unpunished act, it is humanity itself that diminishes. Colleagues, history will not wait for our speeches, it will judge our deeds. When Gaza burned, when children endured hunger, when hospitals crumbled under bombs, did we act? Today, 14 courageous members of this council have raised their voices. They acted with conscience, echoing the calls of global public opinion. Palestinian sisters and brothers, rest assured that we will not abandon you. This will not be the last time this council speaks, and the international community must also assume its responsibilities. Once again, this council has failed. A deep scar now weighs upon the conscience of humanity. Shame on this impotence, shame in the face of the genocide unfolding before open eyes. And to those who still deny, I say, read the report. Examine the findings of the Independent Commission of Inquiry. Its words are explicit, and I quote, "The Commission concludes that the State of Israel bears responsibility for failing to prevent genocide, for failing to punish genocide, and for carrying out genocide against the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip." This council has already failed twice. It has failed twice to prevent this mass crime. Today, we appear to be witnessing a third failure. And at this moment, there can be no ambiguity. Each of us must choose, either to act to stop the genocide or to be counted among those complicit in it. Mr. President, Palestine has never been surrendered to empires or to invaders who sought to dominate it. All those who attempted to subject it are remembered only with shame. Palestine belongs to the Palestinians, and Algeria, as promised by President Abdelmajid Tebboune, will never abandon them, not until the establishment of a Palestinian state with Al-Quds al-Sharif.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President, some in this council treat these meetings as theater, as mere performance. For Israel, this is not a show. It is our daily reality. Just a few hours ago, 2 Israeli citizens were killed at the Allenby crossing on the Israeli-Jordanian border when a truck marked as humanitarian aid was turned into a weapon of terror. This is the reality we face. The speeches delivered here, as if they were performances, can have deadly consequences on the ground. First of all, we express our gratitude to the United States for showing leadership and moral conviction by vetoing this biased resolution. Council members, how did this draft resolution reach us? It began as a unilateral document written by Algeria. The United States, acting in good faith, tried to insert balance, to recognize truth, moral clarity, peace, and security. Yet Algeria refused for weeks. Algiers directed the performance not to seek compromise, but to stall discussions until the spotlight of high-level week was upon us. Perfect timing not to strengthen unity, but to strip away fairness. Line by line, Algeria worked to weaken the truth. So ask yourselves, why give in to Algeria's radical demands while refusing to preserve the simplicity of facts? Let me remind you what Algeria prevented from being included in this resolution. First, that all acts of terrorism are criminal and unjustifiable. That Hamas is a terrorist organization. That the October 7th attack must be condemned and that Hamas must disarm and leave Gaza. Why were these lines removed? The answer is simple. Algeria cares more about spectacle than about truth, more about credit than about genuine progress. Too many here are willing to follow its lead. What we see here is not diplomacy, it is theater. For Algeria, substance has never mattered, only performance, timing, process, and applause. Not the people of Gaza, not their suffering. If you truly cared about the people of Gaza, you would condemn Hamas. You would include it in this resolution. Instead, you shield Hamas, reading from their script and granting them the leading role on the stage you have built in this council. I know many of you as serious diplomats. Yet by supporting a draft that dares to imply Israel is starving Gaza's population, you are echoing Hamas propaganda word for word. Ask yourselves, is this really a position you are willing to defend? Is this the role you wish to play, reciting their script instead of speaking the truth? The facts are clear. The crossings are open. Humanitarian aid enters Gaza through 4 active entry points. Just on Wednesday, September 17, 226 aid trucks entered Gaza, and 550 Gazans were evacuated for urgent medical treatment. Since May, more than 13,000 trucks carrying food, medicine, and essential supplies have been delivered by land, sea, and air. Starvation is not, and has never been, Israel's policy. Our policy is to fight terrorism, to fight Hamas, those who truly starve the hostages. Refusing to acknowledge the facts is not neutrality, it is a choice that strengthens Hamas and prolongs the suffering of both Israelis and Palestinians. What we see once again is a carefully staged performance for headlines, not for peace. Even in its unilateral resolution last Friday, the General Assembly explicitly called on Hamas to end its rule in Gaza. It also condemned, I quote, the attacks carried out by Hamas on civilians on October 7th. Yet the draft before the Security Council today could not even do that. Make no mistake, Hamas waits in the wings. The only beneficiary of this staged drama is Hamas itself. This draft resolution gives them the ovation they so eagerly desire as a reward for their barbarity and their crimes. In this chamber, Algeria has acted as the mouthpiece of Hamas. While Algiers performs theatrics, our hostages remain underground, starved, tortured, humiliated. As this resolution has been stripped of truth and courage, Hamas seizes humanitarian aid and prepares new attacks. While Ambassador Ammar Benjam seeks applause, both Israelis and Palestinians who long for peace are paying the price. The result is the text now before us, a resolution that fails to label Hamas as a terrorist organization, fails to condemn the October 7th massacre, fails to demand Hamas disarm and end its rule in Gaza. This is not the product of diplomacy, but of obstruction. It is not the work of a mediator, but of a leader for radicals and extremists.
Too often over the past 2 years, the world's moral compass has lost its direction. Instead of unanimous outrage at innocent people dragged into tunnels, we have heard hesitation, excuses, and at times even silence. Israel has been asked to justify what needs no justification, bringing our hostages home and confronting Hamas to prove there is no immunity for terrorists. Israel did not want this war. Israel did not choose it. When Hamas invaded Israel, attacked our towns, murdered our citizens, and dragged hostages underground, this war was forced upon us. Today, this council faces a choice. Either persist in moral ambiguity or act with determination. Either steer this organization back to its true course, truth, justice, and peace, or drift into irrelevance. Political maneuvers and hollow gestures lead only to obscurity. Hypocrisy and bias will never bring peace. Members, this is a decisive moment. This year, we mark 80 years from the founding of the United Nations, an institution born from the ashes of a terrible war, when evil was defeated at great cost. It was the triumph of light over darkness that made its creation possible. But before that axis of evil was overcome, some chose appeasement in the face of tyranny, while others stood firm. When Prime Minister Chamberlain told his people to go home and sleep peacefully as oppression advanced, Churchill chose another path, the path of courage and moral clarity. Churchill confronted tyranny and overcame it. We will do the same. For, as he warned, tyranny is our enemy. Whatever appearance or disguise it takes, whatever language it speaks, whether inside or outside, we must remain vigilant, resolute, and united. Israel will not be told to go home and sleep while terror stands at our door. We will not rest until every hostage is freed and Hamas is defeated.
Thank you, Mr. President.